just kept on grinding all my paper route. Support the whole fan, put the music out.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna go ahead and just take off the whole bowl. It's a 190. I don't know, is that? I don't know, we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it out and see. I'm gonna pull this pilot out too, hopefully it won't be needing fit. It's 22.5. Okay, now that I have that written down, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this main jet in its housing. I am going to pull the needle out too and get the clip position. Float height looks good. It's when the plunger inside there stops. And when the plunger stops, before the springing action is up, you want that to be lined up with a straight line on your plunger. So from here to here is spring. Put our pellet jet back down in there. Put our pellet back in here. He ordered all this stuff together, and this carburetor already had gasoline in it. But I'm gonna go ahead and do my due diligence here and just look. Okay, so clip is right in the middle. Spin it right on there. Stick it right down on the bottom there to hold your plate in place. Oh man, I am a dumbass. Okay, well I guess this clip's getting deleted. Just realized that I'm an idiot. I figured out that I need to put this cap on because I totally forgot about it. So put this rubber piece on first, put this cap on here. You put your cable down into the slide like that, and you stick this little metal piece right down in there. It's got like a little notch that fits right down in that hole where it is, so it can't come out. Alright, you just clip it on there like this. And you can stick it, and you can turn it lefty-loosey. It's actually lefty-tighty in this case. Just thread it all the way down in there. A lot of people don't know, but that's another adjustment right there too for your throttle cable. I'm going to leave this attached right here on my table for now, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure out what my air screw is and my idle turns are. Now that we got all the rest of that stuff figured out, so that way I can write that down, and then this is ready to get tossed right on the bike. TD parts. All right, so we did get 1 1/4 turns for our air screw, and then 3 turns out for our idle, and that's all the way in, which is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, all the way in, and then 1 turn and 1/4 turn out for that, and then 3 turns. Full turns for that. So now I know what the settings of those are. So now I can go ahead and get this mounted on the bike. Okay, after sitting here fighting with this thing forever, I've come to the conclusion that this stock box, you just can't use it with that carburetor. I mean, I'm sure you could if you heated it up and all that stuff, but the rubber's already come apart on it down in here, so that means I'm gonna have to take the whole box out, which means I'm gonna have to take all the electrical out, and I'm really not into that. So I think we're gonna go with foam filter. I don't know, I'm gonna talk to him some more and we'll see. I might mess with it later. But I got the carb in there. It's hooked up to the motor. And right now I'm just gonna leave it at that. I went ahead and pulled the swing arm and the rear shock off, and then our front forks. So we got all of our stuff here. We got new adult springs for the front forks. And we got a new rear spring for the rear shock. Plus, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off these tabs because they were for like a little plastic chain guard thing that goes on it. I'm gonna go through all this stuff and clean it all up and make it look good again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start here with the forks. I usually use this, I'm about out of it. I also use this sometimes as a degreaser, citrus-based degreaser, so we'll get to cleaning these. I'm just gonna spray this stuff on here and just kind of wipe all the dirt and grime and bullshit off of it so that when I deal with it, it's somewhat clean. You can see that stuff already bubbling up in that rubber. Alright, I'll get all this stuff wiped up with some blue shop rags and come back. And that's just this and rags. Looks much better. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull off the boots and just see what's underneath here, clean all that stuff up, finish cleaning up the rest of the shock, and then I'll go ahead and dump all the oil out of them. And I'm probably gonna let them sit in here overnight so that they can just drain all the oil out of them. And then I'll put it back together. I took it over to my air compressor and I blew all the crap out of there, trying not to blow directly into that seal. So then what I did was I used some of this and I covered this, and then I used a maroon Scotch-Brite pad, which went up and down the shaft and got rid of all the crap that was on it, like this one. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some more of that and put it down in here and clean all that out with a paper towel and do the same for this. That way I know both forks are pretty good, and then I can go ahead and put it back together. Okay, and just like that, we get two shocks ready to have the oil and springs changed in them. So I'm gonna go ahead, I already cracked the caps loose while these were still in the triple clamps. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these caps off and put them over top of an oil pan, drain all the oil out of them. So I went ahead and pulled off the caps and drained all the oil into that. And then we pulled out our springs, which is a spring, a washer, a spacer, and your cap that goes right on top. And you can do this, if you don't plan on changing your oil and stuff, you can do this right in the bike. You don't even have to do anything other than take the handlebars off. But go ahead and check these BBR springs out, see what we got in here. Okay, so those match up with that size, so we're just gonna put it back together the same exact way. Yeah, those are definitely different. Anyway, we'll go ahead and put these back in and then just fill up with the amount of oil that we need. And the front forks will be done. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these stock springs, I'm gonna toss them in this PBR box. That's what I'm gonna do right now. So now, got our fork here, and this fork is compressed too, so it's not going to be very far down in there. Then we're gonna grab our washer. This is our left side washer from our left fork. Stick it right inside there, and then we're gonna put that tube in there. Okay, through ChatGPT, I figured out how much oil I need. I need 265 cc's, so I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put 265 cc's in each fork leg, and this should be good to go. And just like that, I got two forks that are ready to go. I just gotta finish tightening these caps up once they're back on the bike and in the triple clamps. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Scotch-Brite pad and go through here and clean out these spots for where it's all rusted from the forks and stuff. Clean it up so that they're smooth, they go in, they're nice and smooth, and then I'll slide them in and tighten them up. Alrighty, the forks are back on. Everything's tightened down. She's starting to come together little by little. Okay, so I went ahead and threw the bars on just for giggles and shits. And I'm now realizing that the clutch cable's too short, so we're gonna have to order another clutch cable for it. Throttle cable's good, clutch cable is not. Also, I put the starter button up here. I think it looks more slick there. Plus it stops all your friends from reaching in there and reaching up here and turning it off like the other bikes. So, one step at a time. Okay, so next up on the chopping block is gonna be the rear shock. Here's the new spring for it. I'm gonna take the spring off of it, and then I'm gonna take all the fluid out of it and change the fluid and stuff in it as well. Okay, it's been a little bit. I've done a couple more things. I pulled this whole swing arm off. I did the shock. I put the new the new spring on it. I cleaned this whole swing arm up. I went through and I re-lubed all of the pivot points, all the bearings in them. So now I just got the brakes and stuff left to do, like the hoses and the calipers and stuff. I'm gonna clean them all up before it goes back on here. So pretty much just need to put gas in it, oil, filter, hook up the battery. I think that's it. And it's ready to be started, I do believe. Okay, I just got the battery hooked up. So let's give her a start. Light on, exhaust pipe cold. I can't believe that thing just started up like that. Idle probably needs to go up a little bit. Turning off that extra oil and stuff in the cylinder. Damn! Would you look at that? Oh, buddy. Oh, man. Okay, I got its first heat cycle on. Oh man, she's coming together. I cannot wait to get the graphics and everything on it. Look how good that swing arm looks now. It's not the best, but it's way freaking better than it was. And this is all hand cleaning. I didn't have nothing sandblasted or vapor honed or none of that stuff. This is all wire wheel and using your elbows. How nice and clean it is. Woo! All right, the first official piece of business today is to get this shit cleaned up. Tired of looking at it. I'm not gonna work in it today. Then get over to this. We'll start putting the chain on. I'll get that rear wheel fixed. Get the front wheel on, and just start buttoning this thing up and making sure that everything is right on it. So I'm gonna work on this, and we'll come back to that. Okay. I got the whole bench cleaned up, nice and clean, ready to start working on some stuff. I'm gonna get this done first. I'm gonna go through and clean up both the brake systems, go through here and clean all this crap off of them. That way they look good on that nice clean swing arm. All right, I got the rear brake system cleaned up, put back on the bike. I got everything all lubed up, new brake pedal. She's all good to go. I shouldn't have done that because I already done spread these pads so that I didn't have to do that, and my dumb ass just pumped the brakes so that I have to do it again. All right, so on to the front brakes after I fix my mess up. I was messing with the levers and getting everything set up like control wise. When you tighten the clutch lever perch up, it doesn't get tight. So I'm gonna show you again, I know I've shown this in the past, how to fix this so that you don't have to put rubber or electrical tape or something stupid on your handlebars to make it work. And it's pretty easy. Clamp it in there to where it's just barely sticking up even on both sides. Take an angle grinder and you grind it flat. Take just a little bit off and then it'll tighten up and it'll give you a gap between this piece and the piece that it bolts to so that it will actually be tight on your handlebars rather than just spinning. Now it's fixed. It should work just fine. Not have to put no tape or no dumb shit underneath of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just check and see if this fixed our problem. And before I even put bolts in, I can tell because if you look, it's got some walking room. So now I know that when I tighten these down, I can just make sure that the gap is even on the top and the bottom. Grab our T-handle and just give it just a little bit of a twist. That should be good. All right, that's that. I still got the longer clutch cable on the way. This one's way too short. I got a +4 one on the way, and then I got the filter on the way as well. Outside of that, I mean, everything other than the wheels and plastics and graphics have pretty much been wrapped up. All right, we got the plastics on it. So now that I have all the plastics bolted to it, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw the graphics on it real quick. I'm just ready to see it done. I still gotta mess with that back wheel and put the chain on it and do the seat cover outside of the graphics. So after those 3 things, this bike's pretty much wrapped up and we can go for a test ride on it. All right, doing these graphics, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get some cheap old rubbing alcohol, put it on a rag. I do this each panel individually. I don't do the whole bike all at once and then put the graphics on. I do it one panel at a time. Squeegee, I have a glove, which you don't have to have, and a knife. Everybody seems to fail on doing graphics. I don't actually print them and make them myself, but I've installed graphics kits for a long time for a lot of different people, a lot of different bikes. This is the part where everybody seems to fail. Oh yeah, it looks good. But then you go to power wash it and you got these rough edges right here that your power washer can catch on. This isn't actually even all the way down because it's trying to get around that corner and it's not actually gonna stick. So what you need to do is you need to pick a starting point and then follow the whole edge all the way around. And then do the inside of this with your heat gun. You heat it up. And start right here. We're gonna do this top piece first. You heat it up and push it down right along the edge of where the vinyl ends onto the plastic. That way, when you roll your finger over that edge, it's rolling the actual cut edge that the printer slash cutter has made when making the graphics. So what you're doing is eliminating that threat of a hard edge there that your power washer can catch and pull up and then get dirt underneath of, and then you got a graphic that starts pulling up that you got to start cutting back, and it's just not fun. Plus then your graphics don't look good, and we all know these kits are not cheap. There's not really any graphics kits that are very cheap. To be honest with you, that part right there, heating the whole edge and rolling it down and rolling the edge over is probably, it's just as important, if not more important, than putting the graphics on itself. Like, it is an extremely important part. And even these big graphics companies, I don't really see them talk about that a whole lot either. They just kind of show you like, oh yeah, you line this up and then it should just fit. They don't really show you that a lot either. So that is important. Make sure you do that, and your graphics will last a lot longer. I mean, it might not make them last forever, and some graphics don't. This doesn't work, but if you get a thick cut graphic, you know, it's got a thick laminate on top of it, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna work. So that's the basics of how to put the graphics on. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this bike, and then I'll come back to you guys when it's all done. All right, and just like that, we got all the graphics on. Ready to rock and roll. I added a couple of extra things because we bought parts from TV Parts. He bought parts from BBR and Faster Minis. I did all the work, so put some Braap Boyz on there. And the BBR one in there because it's got the springs in it. The next part is going to be, I guess, fixing the rear wheel and chain, and then the seat, and that's literally it for this bike. I'm just waiting on the throttle or the clutch cable and that filter. But other than that, she's pretty well wrapped up. For a KLX 140 play bike, she is beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and figure out the seat. I'm not gonna lie here, I have never done one of these. I've done plenty of seat covers, both covering the stock cover and removing these and putting new ones on them, but I have never removed a foam from the plastic. The hassle of sitting here watching me take all of them out, because I'm pretty sure any idiot could grab a screwdriver and a pair of pliers and pop all these screws out. So now I'm gonna spend the next hour doing this guy exactly that. Sweet. So out with the old, in with the new, and the new seat cover. Alrighty, I don't know what the last clip I filmed of working on this bike was, but I just finished it up. I know that the last clip that I had filmed, I was at least part way through it, but now it is pretty well wrapped up. I'm only waiting on the clutch cable, which I'll just do that on my own, and a air filter. Other than that, she is all dialed in and ready to rip, even without the filter on it. She starts right up. Man, I'm excited to ride this. Too bad it's freaking raining out. Man. So yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap up this video. Actually, it's not gonna wrap up the video because I got something else to show you. All right, so I got some bonus footage for you guys on this one. So I put the wheels and everything back on, and everything was good. But I noticed that when I tightened the wheels up, you can see right here that this bolt is hitting. It's hitting the caliper bracket right here. And the tighter you get it, the more it locks up. And the same kind of thing goes with the front wheel. Man, I wonder what is going on. I asked my buddy Josh, I said, hey, when you had these wheels powder coated, did you take the wheel bearings out of them? And he says, well, yeah, the guy who did them, he took the wheel bearings out of them. He said, then I put them back in. I said, well, did you put that little spacer in them? He says, what spacer? And I said, the spacer that goes inside the hub between the bearings. Well, I didn't see no spacer. So, I don't know for a fact yet because I ain't opened it, but I'm positive that both of these wheels are missing these spacers. So positive that I already went ahead and ordered both of them. All right, and exactly what I thought was happening, it was exactly happening. That spacer in there was missing. However, I just figured out that as I put the spacer in there, and then I couldn't take up this gap with there's a ring that goes in here, the C-clip, one of these, and I couldn't take up the gap from the other side with the other bearing. And then I realized that there's supposed to be two bearings on this side. So we're missing a bearing too. So I had to order a bearing. So that'll be here tomorrow, and then I can go ahead and put the rest of the wheel back together and it'll be done. And here's the front wheel that I already fixed. So you can see how much better that spins, and that's with this being cranked down as tight as I could get it. So the front is fixed for sure, and the rear wheel will be fixed tomorrow once I get that other bearing and can put it back in. So with all that being said, this bike build is pretty much wrapped up. All I got is that wheel bearing left. Like my video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.